Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Barcelona and Mount Panorama are two tracks that couldn't be more different, both in terms of physical location and physical layout. But tonight, thanks to the benefit of technology, we get to travel to both to watch Formula 3s and the Porsche Cup cars take to the track. Welcome everyone to round 2 of the PRL Thursday Night Series, brought to you here live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, my name is DJ Clark, and with me in the booth is Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director, Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up on the docket is Barcelona, a track that plays host to just about every kind of open-wheeled machine, including Formula 3s. But for those unfamiliar with this Spanish circuit, let's head over to our track guide for a quick refresher.
Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona. The home of the Spanish Grand Prix for nearly 30 years, it's easy to forget that this is a relatively recently built track in Europe. It's known for its long, sweeping corners and hosts the highest level of open-wheel and motorcycle racing. Placing an emphasis on a good aerodynamic setup with high downforce cars, it's often overlooked that it offers plenty of overtaking for lower-tier racing as well. In fact, most don't take into account that this adaptable track has 5 different layouts to choose from. These range from the nearly 3-mile-long Grand Prix version to the minuscule 1-mile club circuit. Because of the pit straight being the longest acceleration zone, Elf is the most likely spot for drivers to get it past them. After that, your next hope might be into La Caixa, which, depending on which layout you use, could be a sharpened set of 2 turns or one long hairpin with an opening radius. In the early 2000s, a chicane was added close to the end of the lap, but the old Europe car corner can still be run. The Spanish fans have some gorgeous views from the many hills dotted along the track. And with the international fame this place has built over time, it's no wonder they're almost always full come race day.
Well, Michael, that is the overview of this Circuit de Barcelona, but what is it going to be like for these Formula 3s on the historic layout?
Well, it's going to be an interesting 13 turns. You've got a beautiful run down that front straight, and you come into that amazing passing zone at Elf, turn 1, going through those S's, trying to come around Renault to Repsol, another good passing zone right at Repsol. And then you get into the whole twisty section, going all the way up to the top of Campsa, down back to that quick hairpin, up around through Eurocar for the long way around, unlike the Formula One cars that take that little notch out of there, which really builds up some beautiful speed to finish out just under 3 miles, right about 4 3/4 kilometer track. It is really exciting, super high speeds and some really tough turns and some very tight, almost hairpins throughout this track. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for these guys. We're going to see some fantastic action.
Well, I, for one, can't wait to get to that action. But before we do, let's run you through the points here for this series. First up, it is the Drivers' Championship. And before that, even, we need to tell you about tonight's sponsors. Namely, our broadcast is brought to you tonight by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products provide an incredible level of immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL Open Wheel Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
Now we are ready to bring you those points, and first off, it is the driver's points. As you can see, Andrew Hardman has a narrow 6-point advantage over Michael Broomhead. Broomhead taking victory in last week's race. Fernando Rodriguez sits 10 points back from them, certainly within striking distance, as does Takashi Keita, with Steven Ritter's only 17 points back, so very, very close at the top there. Granted, we are only 2 rounds in here in this Formula 3 series, but Michael, we also have a team's championship, and how's that looking?
Well, the team's championship, as you saw, Britannia iSports, our number 1 and number 2 drivers. Well, Britannia iSports with 130 points. Not too far behind, though. 11 points back, Atomic Racing Proton. Followed in third, 23 points back from the leaders, is SDS Racing Team, Evolve Sim Sports Academy, and Blown Tranny Racing, 77 points back in fifth.
And as for tonight's race details, it is the same format that we have been running in these Formula 3s. It is round 3 of 10, 27 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first. And we have had some information from a couple of the teams telling us that they think it will end at actually lap 26, that we will hit that 40-minute time. It is open setups out here, which is going to come into play whether or not you tune the car for high downforce or low downforce. If you pick up some bad markers, you get a drive-through penalty at 13 incidents and disqualified at 17, but there are bonus points for pole, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less. And drivers are currently out on track fighting for that first bonus point, and there is the man with a plan right now, Andrew Hardman, your championship leader, currently sitting atop of the charts by only 24 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, 24 thousandths, that's not even the nose of these cars at these speeds. That's pretty quick. So it'll be interesting to see with this open qualifying format. Maybe somebody can get a little bit of a draft in there and make up that extra time, or maybe Hardman already took advantage of a little draft. Hard to say. It'll be interesting to see how this works out in the end.
As we watch P2 here, this is Steven Ritters for that Atomic Racing Proton team. Robert Ridgway behind him, Michael Broomhead and Max Chablis rounding out your top 5. Very, very close at the top here with not a whole lot separating our drivers. I'm seeing all the way 1st to 20th separated by a mere second, Michael. These gaps are just so tiny.
These gaps, that many places with only a second is really unheard of. That gives you an indication of what the quality of these racers is. These guys are so good, every one of them tuning just to perfection to get their car in where they want. Just because somebody may have come in 10th, let's say Heffernan's back there in 10th place, half a second back, don't count him out. Nick Horvath, who we're watching now, 13th place. Look, he's 0.535 seconds. Do not count that out. The draft means something here. And sometimes if you tune the car to the edge, as Nick Horvath comes up to 7th, see what I said? Don't count him out. So yeah, these guys are just absolutely putting everything on it. And sometimes you want the long run. Sometimes you want to get that really quick lap for the beginning. I think if I were racing, I'd opt for trying to sit right where Nick Horvath is right now, P7, and then have the long shot on the race to not be on that edge and spinning the car or getting myself into a bad position.
Well, indeed, here is his teammate, Ozzie Milwane, currently working on a lap, coming there out of those final corners. And as you mentioned in that track guide, no chicane around here coming through Europe cars, so much more speed on the docket. Milwane bringing that car out of New Holland. He is able to improve by a couple of tenths, and that's enough to bump him all the way up to 6th place. That is how fine of a margin this is, Michael. Absolutely insanity.
And that got him 5th to 15th, got him up to 0.417 seconds, and there's one person between him and his teammate, Nick Horvath. So this is crazy. If you watch these guys come around this last corner, just watch how much they try to get out there on that edge. Also realize there's a lot of downforce on these cars, even when they're at a fairly low trim level. So when they're coming through that corner, if you're used to watching GT cars come around here, for example, they're all over that curbing at the end. These guys in these F3 cars, not necessarily using quite as much because they just don't need it.
Yeah, much more downforce on display. We ride on board here with David Cristelli as he works his way around. Now, Michael, he's got a car up in front of him. That's obviously going to help him on the straightaways, but just how badly is that going to affect him through the corners? Is he going to be getting a lot of aero wash from a car that far ahead?
Well, as my friend Travis Brown from the Porsche Owners Club likes to say, the wing wash is real, and you will definitely feel it. But that's the idea here. If you know you have an open qualifying and you know you're going to be behind somebody, you may want to add a tiny bit more wing, maybe an extra half degree or a degree of wing, because you know you're going to be in that position. Give yourself the downforce you need through the twisty bits, but slide in behind somebody, catch right up to him when you're coming down to that Europe car final corner, and hope you got enough to hold on to it as we watch them take, just the absolute edge of how far they can get out there onto that curbing.
And that's your current pole sitter, Andrew Hardman, really pushing it. And I'm looking back over these times and doing some math. There are only 0.2 of a second from P5 to P15. These times are just absolutely bonkers. Hundredths of a second is going to be enough to move you up through the field. Looking back, 9th, 10th, 11th, separated by about 11 thousandths of a second. It is just on the limit here. Here's Fernando Rodriguez. Remember, he was all the way up in 3rd a little bit earlier. He's fallen down the order to 9th for the SDS Racing team, trying to get his way a little bit forward. That's one of the atomic cars in front of him. He's going to be able to pick up a little bit of that draft that you talked about, Michael.
Yeah, the draft, again, it's really going to be important here. You've got to time it right. And I'd like to give a quick shout out to Richard Swindell, sitting in 20th. He's on his way out of the pits right now. I was racing with Richard the other night. He is a fantastic driver. I love racing with this guy. He's one of the best behaved people on track. I know I can go through a corner side by side with him, so I'm hoping to see a lot with him as Andrew Hardman pulls the fastest lap again. So just trying to cement his place on top. He's got now 1/10 of a second between him and Ritters.
And normally I would be saying how close of an advantage that is, but in this race, I think that is near monumental at this point to be able to pull out that 10th of a second. And crucially, he looks like he did that pretty well on his own. Here comes Ozzy Milwane. Let's see what the Evolved Sim Sports driver can do. That's going to bump him up a little bit. One position up into 5th. Good run there for Ozzy. That's a 32.6 flat. He's going to pull off to the side. Here is Christopher Richards, another driver here for Eagle Vision Racing. He's bringing that car through those final couple of corners, those long right-handers that lead you on back to the straightaway. A lot of that inside curbing, running it a little bit wide. Let's see how he handles New Holland. You talked about here how they don't need to use that full escape road. Is he going to be able to improve? Yes, he is. That will bump him up the order to P7.
Wow, nice run around that final corner. I could hear his tires just screaming for mercy as he was going around that last corner, making some of the sounds you and I often make in our broadcasts.
Indeed, here is Takashi Keita, the Atomic Racing Proton driver. Remember, his team currently back in second in the points. Takashi, third or fourth in the points right now. He's had a very good start to the season. Takashi, normally known as a driver with great racecraft, but we've seen him struggle a couple of times in qualifying. A P15 is about what I would normally expect for him, but his qualifying has looked a little bit better this season.
Yeah, a little bit of a lockup for him. And when we talked to him, I want to say it was at Snetterton after the race, because he came in to talk to us after the race. He did an amazing job at Snetterton working his way through. Very patient. And this is what I was talking about before with the idea of your setup. You don't have to set your car on the absolute edge. You want to make it to the end of the race. And as we watched him, especially at Snetterton, where I think he went from 17th to 4th or 3rd, something like that, he really had the right mindset of pushing the car through, but not overdoing it and putting the car so far on the knife's edge that it just spins off into a corner.
Yeah, always a driver you can expect good things from. He was about 500ths of a second off of his best time there, so that's not going to count for him. Max Chablis here for the Atomic Racing Electron team. He's working his way around. I believe that is the number 8 in front of him of Colin Heffernan. So he'll pick up a little bit of the draft on the run into Lakaja and then be able to hopefully hold this out. Looks like a pretty good line there coming through the long left-hander. And now it's the series of rights. Little bit of an interesting line there, more of a diamond off on the corner there.
Yeah, it's one of the thoughts of the way to do that corner. It's not wrong, it's not right. It's one of those corners where you have a couple of different ways to attack it. As we watch, oh, look how much of that runoff he used out there. He was all the way out into the green, just pulling to the absolute edge. As we watch Max try to come down here, how does Max fare coming towards the finish line? And oh, nope, just started his new lap. He jumped up one spot. He's now in 5th place.
All right, so a pretty good improvement there for Max. He'll be pretty pleased with that. We only have about 10 seconds to go here. I think the last driver that may be able to cross the line to start a new flyer will be Takashi Keita, and indeed, he is going to get over in enough time. This is not going to be a fast lap for the 64, but he will be able to get one more flyer down. All these drivers that are coming through right now, this will be their final lap. That's Robert Ridgway taking a big chunk of Europe car, trying to push that car as far as possible. Ooh, that thing looking very much on edge. He is not going to be able to improve.
Oh, he was looking to get that extra little bit to get up where Ritters is. Steven Ritters in P2. Still a little bit of a gap between them, but I got to say that, again, this is a tiny gap here. We're going to see that kind of go away when it comes time to drop the green flag.
Christopher Richards calling it a day. Nicholas Carriondis going to come across the line here. He has yet to set a time. Is he going to be able to get a good one down? It doesn't look like it. I think he picked up an off track there at some point. Sean Duhamel's going to be unable to improve. I see Greg Doucette able to get his way up into P17. Here comes Colin Heffernan. That's going to be an off track for sure. So his lap is not going to count there. The number 8 machine waiting here. We have, I believe, Tyler Scarali, and that's Rob Campbell making their way through the final couple of corners right now. Bringing it around is Rob Campbell. Let's see what he's got. Not taking a lot of it. Scarali may have picked up an off track there. Campbell able to improve. That's going to bump him up to 21st.
That puts him right next to his teammate, Richard Swindells. As we watch Takashi Keita coming around. Oh, he's going to call it a day. Didn't get the time he wanted. Going ahead and bring it into the pits.
All right, and so that is going to wrap up our qualifying session here, and we are ready to go ahead and bring you the grid for this 40-minute or 27-lap race in Barcelona. Andrew Hardman, again, will be starting in pole position, followed by Steven Ritters, with Robert Ridgway and Michael Broomhead behind him. Max Chablis will be in P5, followed by Ozzie Milwane, with Jonathan Almanar and Christopher Richards in row 4. Brad Miller will be P9, followed by Nick Horvath, who rounds out your top 10.
Looking at row 6 with P11, we're going to have Fernando Rodriguez with Tyler Scarali alongside of him, Colin Heffernan, Johnny Luna, Takashi Keita, who we were just watching there at the end, with David Cristelli coming in 16th. Row 9 is going to be Greg Doucette with Joey Haynes. Row 10, James Doherty with Richard Swindells.
Behind Richard, it's going to be Rob Campbell, followed by Matthew Gunderson, with Nicholas Colander and Dave Peterson lining up behind them. Sean Duhamel will be in the 25th spot, followed by James Carter with Adam McDonald and Devin Lampke. Donald Wilson will be 29th. Tyler Gore will be 30th, followed by Calvin Lee, Brian Hoskins, the last driver to set a time, Nicholas Carriendis, and Daniel Barnett, unable to put a time down here today. Well, you talked about the draft, you talked about all of that, but how crucial is this race start going to be here, Michael?
Well, the big thing on the race start is it is such a hard run down to that first corner. When you're flying and you've got just the green flag jitters are already there. Even for me, I race without adrenaline except the start, and that gets me every single time. If you got adrenaline on you, that's great for outrunning a bear. It's not so good for driving a race car. So you're going to see a little bit of lockup, I think. People trying to jockey for position, make up some quick, easy spots, but it's not a good place to do it. We all try it anyway. I don't know why. I don't know why we do that. We know better, but we try to do it anyway. So we'll see how it goes. Watch what's happening down into turn 1.
Yeah, it could be a big coming together moment we have seen both in real life and in series here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Drivers getting into big kerfluffles going down into that first elf corner. Waiting for a couple of drivers to take to the grid here. Rodriguez and Almanar are the only two that I see that have yet to grid up. As there you can see the field led off by Andrew Hardman and Steven Ritters. Just waiting here for those last couple of drivers to pop onto the grid. It's going to be a good run. We've got a good championship battle really starting to develop here. So keep your eyes on them. There we go, waiting for the lights to come on. Here we go as... There go the lights, and here comes the thunder. We are racing in Barcelona. Andrew Hardman gets off to a very good start. Ritters is going to pop in line behind him. Ridgway and Broomhead jockeying out. Broomhead, the only one that's sticking onto that inside line. I'm seeing Max Chablis trying to get a little bit of a line in there as well. They're going to be 2 wide, almost 3 wide, going down into that first elf corner. But through about the top 20, they're going to be okay and nice and safe. Everyone on through safely.
Woo, man, just listening to you puts me out of breath. But nice job, everybody, getting through there. I love to see really good racing where you're not trying to overdo it in turn 1. As we watch them come around this corner here, this is tough. This is a really big setup for another excellent passing zone, but everyone's trying to get their tires warm right now. We're not going to see too much at the moment after watching that start. I don't think anybody's got the jitters to try to jump in there as we get down into the scoop to make this run up the hill.
Indeed, and good that you mentioned it is 66 degrees Fahrenheit out on track right now, so a very chilly track condition. We've also heard some drivers talking a little bit about gusting winds out of the east. Oh, we've got a driver spun around. That is Dave Peterson in the Viking Hot Rod Racing machine as he is offline in the scoop.
Ooh, that's a tough place. We'll come back to him in a little bit as we get back to our leaders. Watching Andrew Hardman right now, just trying to carve his way through. Open up a little bit if you can. We've got a mini pack, a little mini peloton, maybe starting out with our P1, P2 Hardman and Ritters, trying to get away from Ridgway, Broomhead, and Chablis.
They've got about a 0.7 of a second advantage over Robert Ridgway right now. You can see the rest of the field pretty single file here. There was a little bit of side-by-side in the back between Nick Horvath and David Cristelli, but they were able to sort that out. Ooh, that's Jonathan Almanar going very defensive back in the field, but I think Christopher Richards is going to be able to try to get that move done on him regardless. No, Almanar is able to fend him off.
Yeah, nice move, trying to hold that position, not trying to be too aggressive just yet. I think this is a little bit of, hey, let's see what you're willing to let me get away with. And then as we come down in here into Repsol, we got a nice hold through this corner. I don't think we're going to look at any passing opportunities just yet. I still think these guys with this really cold track are trying to get some heat in their tires.
They very well may be, but a lot of lateral load around here, so that's hopefully going to be heating up the tires as quickly as possible as we continue to watch that 49 of Richards, now under a little bit of assault from Tyler Scarali, who's been able to pick the pockets. Oh, that's an off for Takashi Keita, falling all the way down through the field. He's got suspension damage. That has to be contact.
Oh, that right rear is not having a good day. He's going to have to go into the pits to get that. And I think he may be able to get away without a tow. As we watch the replay here, coming around the corner. Oh, this is after the incident. Let's go back a little bit farther, see what happens there. Oh, there we go. Yep, got a little bit on the other side of the car. It looked like the right rear was what was bouncing around, unless I saw incorrectly.
Believe so. There, yeah, he got contact. That was with Sean Duhamel, it looked like, going into turn one, so not entirely sure what happened to him, but we check back on the leaders in the field here as Robert Ridgway in third, setting the fastest lap of the race, having a little bit of a halfway look there on his teammate of Steven Ritters. That gap has really come down. It's now down to about 0.2 of a second, but as he has closed in, he has dropped Michael Broomhead to the tune of about 0.9 of a second.
I got to wonder if this is a little bit of playing with your teammate. Ritters may be backing off. He's got 0.8 up to Hardman right now, but Ridgway is right up on him, under half a second on him. This is where he wants to be. If he wants his teammate to help him get up and get past Hardman, that's exactly what he needed to do. If he's playing the team game here, which is very important, people misunderstand how much team play works in racing. It's not just the drivers, it's everybody. But this case, obviously, it's the drivers. It's not too much of a pit crew going on, but these guys are going to work together to try to get up to Hardman. But Hardman is just blazing laps out there.
And while we've got a minute to calm down here, let's go back and check out that incident with Dave Peterson earlier in the race. This is coming down around that long Renault corner. Excuse me, that's out of Repsol. Brings it down and then into the left-hander. Looks okay through there. And then, Dave, does he catch the grass on the entrance of the corner? No, that's a little bit of a bump from behind.
Yeah, a little unfriendly contact there going into the corner. That's a tough corner, especially when it's still cold. This was early on. That was lap 1, I believe, in the race, or lap 2 in the race. They're still trying to get their bearings, get the feel of the cars around them. So, making a peek, not going to go for it. But, hey, at least let him know. Tyler Scarali saying, hey, Chris, I'm back here. Just remember, I'm here. I'm ready to make this pass.
Exactly, and that did look like it cost Tyler Scarali a couple of tenths of a second. He was down at 0.5 as they worked their way through Renault, now up into Repsol. He's able to keep that gap at about 0.5 behind him. Fernando Rodriguez just gaining a spot over Brad Miller, so Rodriguez is going to be trying to get his way forward. This has been a pretty fierce battle here in the back. Rodriguez, Miller, Haynes, Cristelli, Horvath, they've really been tearing it up.
And just a note, Joey Haynes is up 7 positions, just as Rob Campbell a little bit farther back is, but 7 positions with this group. This is hard to do. 1 position with this group is hard to do. As we've got another spinner. Looks like Adam McDonald has gone around, coming down, right down into the bowl here.
Taking a look at the replay, I'm not sure if he had a little bit of contact or not. He was chasing down some drivers in front of him and may just misjudge his braking zone.
Or it could be the wing wash is real. Let's see as he makes his way into the corner. Oh, I think it's a little bit of over-braking. The car in front of him was checking up a little bit because the car in front of him was checking up a little bit. And I think it might just be a little driver error over-braking just a tiny bit. As we note, Steven Ritters, who is currently in P2, getting our fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, Ritter's doing a very good job to keep up the pressure. I think he responded as this gap is just ebbing and flowing between our leaders. We thought they were starting to break away a little bit from Michael Broomhead, but Broomhead responded, setting down a personal best lap time that last time out. So Broomhead certainly not out of this equation yet. He is keeping everybody honest.
And I just love to point out the mathematical alliteration of Broomhead's lap of 133.333. Love it.
Certainly makes our lives a little bit easier. You just got to spit out a bunch of threes in a row. So thank you for that, Michael. There he works his way around. Max Chablis also not out of this equation either. He's about a second back of Michael Broomhead. But as we've said, very easy for this gap to sort of ebb and flow a little bit as we focus there on Chablis, the Atomic Racing Electron driver.
And we're only about 20% into this race or so. There's still a good bit of time to make up. I think they've already felt each other out. They know what's going on. They know what everybody's going to do at this point. Now it's time to start really turning those thumb screws and see if you can get the guy in front of you to make a mistake, or the guy who's chasing you to make a mistake. So I think right now is when we're going to start seeing some really good action Robert Ridgway has a little bit of an answer. Hey, let me turn a 33-0, see how that sits for you.
We jump back in the field to Brad Miller trying to fend off David Cristelli. A couple of Brad Miller fans, I believe, in the YouTube chat right now. Cristelli going to have a look to the inside. That's a late dive maneuver. He is going to get it done, though. Very, very good job there for the 009, as that's going to be also Nick Horvath trying to force his way through. And don't look now, but Colin Heffernan looking at that. Brad Miller looking to be in a whole lot of trouble.
Ooh, that move just reminds me of DR3, the man, the Mr. Smiley in Formula One. That is exactly the kind of move he would do. That's why I love watching him race F1, and I love seeing it here in these F3 cars too.
Indeed, really sending it down the inside there is now Miller's having to fend off Rob Campbell from behind. Campbell looking a little bit aggressive there going into Worth, not able to get it done. Nick Horvath also having to look up ahead at Colin Heffernan. I doubt he's going to be able to get anything going down through Campsa, but there you see the field starting to bunch up a little bit. Here comes the run. That's Brad Miller weaving this way and that, trying to find something. Good move there from Nick Horvath, just trying to break the draft. Here comes Brad Miller down to the inside. I thought he was going to have to back out of it, but he didn't, and that's Horvath around!
And there's contact there. I believe there was contact right at the end of that. Oh, and he makes a quick head for the button to get his toe to get back to get his car repaired.
Taking a quick look at that 15 of Brad Miller, I don't think there's any visual damage to the car, so he got away relatively easily with that.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay here as we watch. That was a great overhead shot before you could really see it coming around. But here, let's watch it develop as he makes his way through the corner, just gets a little bit too far outside. I'm not even sure there was contact there. It was hard to tell. There could have been a little bit on the wing to wheel. Hard to say, but just really heartbreaking when you're making that hard run around the outside. As we come back to, is that Takashi Keita again?
It's Brad Miller again, that same battle we were watching, and as you can see there, Colin Heffernan able to pull away just a little bit from the field, but Miller still having to deal with Campbell, and that big checkup has allowed for Greg Doucette to close in behind them.
Yeah, these guys really starting to get tight up on each other, really trying to make their point. So you got Brad Miller coming up on, trying to defend Rob Campbell. Rob Campbell, teammate with Richard Swindell's. I think he's waiting for Richard Swindell's to come up and give him a hand because Brad is not letting him around.
Yeah, and there you saw Rob having a very rough go coming up through Worth, as I think this is going to open up a little bit of a chance here to Greg Doucette. He thinks about poking his nose down to the inside, thinks better of it. They'll stay single file through Lakaja.
Ooh, getting a little bit sideways, not too much sideways, a little wiggly, we'll say, as he was coming through Lakaja. It's tough getting in there, and this is the safer version of this course with that extended loop around there. In earlier versions, like 2-3 years ago, that cut up earlier, and a lot of people like that version. I've seen a lot of people on iRacing really enjoy that version. Personally, I like that longer loop as we watch Rob Campbell and Doucette trying to make the peak, getting down to the right side into turn one. Is he going to make the pass? Oh, he's going to hold on to it just tight into it. Oh, contact!
Contact between Doucette and Campbell, and that was Brad Miller spinning all by his lonesome. So a lot of cars around in there. The winner out of that, it looks like, is going to be, I believe, Swindell's, who was able to get his way on up and by. We're going to go back and check out the replay. Talk us through this, Michael.
So Swindell's, we get to watch from the catbird seat right here as he's watching these guys going in for the pass. Swindell's backing out just a little bit, sees two cars doing their pirouettes, just just threads the needle as he runs right through there, and we get a great shot of the GSRC logo.
We do indeed. We'll never say no to a little bit of free advertising there as we focus back on Swindell's. Right behind him, Nicholas Colander holding off Doucette and Gunderson, who were closing in there behind as well. So this battle in the mid-pack certainly still playing on. Don't worry, we have not missed anything up at the front. Hardman continues to lead from Ritters, Ridgeway, and Broomhead.
Yeah, Ritters and Ridgeway still working together. They're not too far apart. They're still about 7/10, or, well, no, actually a little over a second now, with Ritters trying to make the run up. But this is the exciting stuff that's happening right now. Those guys are kind of holding station. Let's watch what we've got going on here, though. This is a great little grouping. Back to the front, we've got Hardman, Ritters, and Ridgeway all below 133. They've started to really drop that fuel weight, get those tires nice and scrubbed in. They're trying to make some time as they can.
Yeah, they certainly are there as you see Ritters just trying to close in. He's the one that's been able to hold in the closest, keeping that gap to about 6 or 7 tenths of a second. So doing a very good job with that as they work their way around down through Verth. We've got to jump back here. This is Nicholas Colander under very heavy attack from Greg Doucette going down into Repsol under the bridge. Doucette to the inside. That's going to be Colander the outside. Doucette gives him plenty of room, but able to carry the better line. Now they make their way down into Sayat. Who's going to have it? Looking for the crossover is Doucette, but I don't think... Wait, no, he's still in it.
Oh, getting down into the bowl, getting the pressure down onto the car, trying to hold onto that inside, pushing all the way to the out, right up that curving to this up top of the hill, make that fast right-hander. Oh, I think it's pretty much settled now as we go, as we get into Lakaya.
Indeed, they continue to go down there. No late braking maneuvers. This is your closest battle out on track right now. Swindell is leading from Colander, leading from Gunderson. Very, very close across the field here with these three. I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen more close running from the rest of the field, though, considering how tight those qualifying times were.
We've just got some little bit of Gunderson wheel spin going on here. He's doing the best he can to catch up to these guys, but it's tough because you got Doucette and Colander trying to make their way, hold on to Swindell's. Swindell's does not want any of that. He wants to get away from these guys.
Indeed, he does, but Greg Doucette just not letting that happen. Very wide going down into that first corner. Going to try to carry a little bit more speed wider at the apex there for Doucette. He's got, looks like a little bit of a tighter line. Is that going to help him? I wonder. We saw the big assault coming up through Repsol last time. Is he going to try for another bite at the apple? He's thinking about it.
Yeah, we got Colander doing the best he can, going a little bit wide. I think he might be thinking a little bit about too much of his mirror position right now. Time to focus forward, get going again. Let's get down here to the bottom of the bowl as he looks to make the run up the hill.
He's just got to be focusing to the best of his abilities here, but Doucette not making that easy, keeping that gap under 4 tenths of a second. Probably a little bit of a lift there from Doucette. Very hard to try to go flat out there following another car. They have been able to gap Matthew Gunderson, though, as they now dive down through Lakaja, trying to see what he's got. Doucette just taking every different line that he can to see if there's an advantage to be gained.
Yeah, he's keeps going a little bit wide, missing his apexes, but he's holding his speed well. So holding that speed is surprising being that far out, but hey, it speaks to the talent of these drivers. We come back every week and we watch these guys. You can miss an apex, but still keep a really good time. As he makes a move to the right side of the track, try to break that toe.
Tries to break it, but it didn't look like he needed to that much, as Doucette not really able to close it down all that much. It's going to keep that gap under about 5 tenths of a second, but just barely.
Yeah, we may have a setup difference here. So thinking about how he's going that wide around those corners, he's probably trying to hold on to some speed. He doesn't have quite the downforce to be able to attack those apexes like he wants to. But when he gets on that long straightaway, he's able to make, let's come back, take a look. We've got Doucette and Horvath. Looks like, this is Horvath, sorry. Yeah, we got Horvath back here. Horvath's trying to make it interesting for us. Let's watch as they come down into the bowl again to shoot back up the hill. I love coming down into this. Driving this in real life, This is one of the greatest experiences you will ever have. The car just compresses beautifully, and then the springs release and shoot you up the track. It's amazing.
Oh, as we've got a car very heavily damaged. That's Tyler Gore for Blown Tranny Racing. There's clearly been an incident. This is coming down off of Repsol, diving down into Seat. What happened to Tyler here?
Ooh, let's take a look as we watch him coming down into it. Gets a little bit wide, maybe, or is it too much? Oh, I think he got a little bit too much of that inside. And oh, yeah, once the nose and the front wheels are gone, that's pretty much your day right there.
You are the clear driving expert here, Michael, but from what I have been led to believe that if there's not a wheel on the car, that's normally not a good thing, right?
That's not a good thing. I have seen people try to do their Morgan three-wheeler impressions, but it doesn't really help you with a fast lap, let's say.
As our director is reminding us, the only person who's been able to pull that off is Gilles Villeneuve, so we'll give credit to him. But we continue to follow this battle up at the front. Andrew Hardman pulling that gap out a little bit from Steven Ritters. He's been able to get it up to about a second here. That's about as big as we've seen that gap all day.
Yeah, he's doing the best he can, just over a second between Hardman and Ritters, but let's not count out Ridgway. Also about a second behind, just trying to sit there. We're halfway through this race, just under halfway. It's time to set something on fire here, guys. Ridgway in P3 right now with Atomic Racing Proton with his partner Steven Ritters. This is time to really make it going, as we got a spinner, David Cristelli going around.
And this is Cristelli back from about 11th position. That looks like it was going into Lakaja that he lost it. As we check out this replay, no cars around him. I've got to think this is a solo incident.
This is probably getting a little bit too much curbing, maybe over braking a little bit. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit too hot getting in there. Maybe too much weight on the nose as he's trying to come around. You really have to start letting off that brake pedal when you get to that point in the corner, because these cars will grab very hard when you transition from aero grip to mechanical grip.
Well, and Cristelli here is now going to have his mirrors full of Richard Swindell's, who's still on a bit of a recovery drive from that incident we saw him having earlier, as Swindell's trying to gain back in, but Cristelli's been able to grow that gap back out to about 0.8 of a second. It was as low as about 3 a couple of corners ago.
Yeah, Cristelli doing some nice laps. His best lap is around a 33.3, with Swindell's doing a 33.7. So it's going to be interesting to watch how Cristelli and Swindell's try to work this out. If Swindell's can hold on to him and maybe help with a little bit of draft, get in there and maybe bring those lap times down just enough to get him back around him.
Well, we'll have to see. Swindell's just coming over the radio there. I couldn't exactly hear what that message was, but he certainly wants to get his way forward. Fernando Rodriguez looks like he may have had an issue. I just saw him fall a couple of positions down the field. I think he may have just had a little bit of an off track, and that cost him a spot to Joey Haynes.
Taking a look at the replay here, coming around Lakaya. Oh, yeah, it's not a bad run, trying to come back around to the right side. Looks like that rear end's getting a bit on the squiggly side, trying to make it around. Yep, there we go. It happens in threes. We watched it as he went into Lakaya. Second corner, a little bit wiggly. Third corner, there it goes, right around.
All right, so that will demote him down into 9th position, and he's going to be about 3 seconds back of Haynes now, and about 2 seconds ahead of Colin Heffernan as they run. But we've got a little bit of a battle shaping up down here in 15th as Matthew Gunderson leads Rob Campbell and Nick Horvath.
Yeah, these are names we've been talking about all evening long. These three trying to run a little trio here, holding it together. 3 different teams, well, 1 independent and 2 other teams. Oh, nice run down the inside. Is he going to make it as he comes around Sayat, getting down to the base of the bowl? I think he's going to hold on to this, coming up into it. Oh, this is going to be tight.
Ooh, that car looked like it really wanted to step out. And Nick Horvath recognized it. Not going to be able to make the run going up through Campsa. He's going to have to fall back a little bit. That is Greg Doucette off onto the side. He has had a spin coming around Campsa. That's going to delay, I think, any attack here for these guys. But Doucette suffering big time. He's all the way down into 9th. 19th.
19th. Wow, tough. That's it's the easiest way to make a pass. Let them go off. But hey, I'll take that pass every day of the week. I don't want to be the guy spinning. As you guys have noticed before, spins are not fun, especially when you're in the lead of the race or anywhere in the pack. But that's got to be frustrating as he lights up the rear tires to try to bring it back around and get back on track.
And we've got one of our first drivers coming down for a scheduled pit stop. This is Matthew Gunderson pitting out of 17th position for Blow Tranny Racing. He is coming down here. I don't anticipate him taking any tires here, Michael. I think this is going to be a fuel-only race.
Probably fuel only. This track is not too bad on tires. We've also got, let's see, Doucette coming in, Lee, and Caranda's also coming in.
Yeah, so some of the drivers lower down in the order opting to come in. Remember what we said, that we anticipate this being a timed race and not a distance race. And with that in mind, we just ticked over 23 of 40 minutes. So a lot of these drivers opting to split this race just about in half. To give you a quick recap, Andrew Hardman continues to lead. The top five have not changed from the drop of the green flag. It's Hardman, Ritters, Ridgway, Broomhead, and Chablis.
Yeah, we just had a little incident on the backside of the track. Adam McDonald went around. I couldn't tell if he had any help with that one. As we watch here, Robert Ridgway rolling all the way back to P5. He was running P2. Looks like he's going to try to get his pit stop out of the way before Ritters comes in, probably next lap to make his pit stop.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see a very quick pit stop there for him. That was significantly faster than a lot of the drivers that we've seen around him. So hoping he didn't underfuel the car there.
Yeah, that was quick. He was only 4.8, just under 5 seconds stationary in the car right there. That's pretty quick. I'm certain he didn't get tires. We didn't see the car go up, but that's not a lot of fuel. Let's hope he has enough in there to make it to the end of the race.
Indeed, Cristelli also looking like he has come down. Rob Campbell as well. So a flurry of activity down pit lane. Robert Ridgway still your highest pitter as of right now. Colander, looks like Horvath has come down, separating out some of those battles that we were keeping an eye on, but still very, very interesting strategy starting to play out here at Barcelona.
Yeah, making these pit stops, they're very short. As I look through the list, everybody is under 6 seconds, maybe 6.1 for a few, other than the ones who had to take repairs, who had damage or whatever. But we've got some as low as 4.8 seconds. As our leader comes into the pits, Hardman making his dive in. It looks like Ritter's right behind him.
Yeah, and that's a heads-up play as he was about to start catching traffic, so I think he wanted to come down. Looks like Chablis, Ritters, Almanar, pretty much everybody coming down. This may be the end of the pit stop cycle.
That puts Michael Broomhead into the effective lead, or the actual lead of the race. It's hammer time, Michael. Get on it, buddy. You're going to need to make up a lot of time to get around there and hold on to the lead of this race if you're gonna get it after your pit stop rotation.
Indeed, as they come on back out of here, the lead of the race is turning over to Michael Broomhead and Fernando Rodriguez, both of whom have been able to stay out an extra lap. And I think it's time to get a little sweeping done because Broom is on it right now. Michael Broomhead leading this race.
Yeah, Broomhead looking really good as he's just barely hitting these bits of track where it's not quite so stable. Driving through there, you get a little bit too much, as we've seen. A lot of incidents, guys coming in there, getting the car just a little bit too much over the bumpy parts, and the car's rear end kicks out. But he's looking quite good here for a low fuel position. Let's see if he can hold on right now. He's got a back marker. He can get a little bit of a draft out of this if he's lucky. And hey, this could be his hammer time. It could work out for him. I expect to see him dive to the pits here, and he's in though.
Yeah, and that is Sean Duhamel directly in front of him. He is going to come into pit lane. That was a very, very hot entrance there for Michael Broomhead. Fernando Rodriguez behind him, waiting to see if he will come down. This is the number 11. This is Andrew Hardman. This is who we anticipate being your leader, unless Broomhead has been able to put some absolute magic down. Coming through right now, Broomhead taking service. That is Hardman out, and he is going to be going. He will pass Broomhead.
Yeah, Broomhead still stationary in his box. Actually, just moving out now. Still going to slot in probably 4th, maybe 5th as Max works his way up. Nope, I think he's going to hold on to 4th.
Yes, indeed. So those drivers coming out pretty much exactly where they came in for that top place position. It does look like we've got a little bit of a battle starting to develop for P6. Jonathan Almanar getting chased down by Tyler Scarali here.
Yeah, Scarali doing a nice job. Joey Haynes right behind him, just a couple of seconds back. But Almanar doing everything he can. These guys have all gone through their pit rotations. 5-1, 5-2 for Almanar and Scarali. Broomhead, interestingly, 6.7 seconds stationary. I think he may have taken on a little bit too much fuel, or was he the only guy who was right and everybody else? Watch for the end of the race. Let's see how this one plays out.
It's not like Michael Broomhead to make a mistake, so I've got to think that he knows something we don't hear. As we continue to watch Almanar and Scarali. Scarali closing down by about a 10th there in Sector 2. That was a good run for him, so we'll have to see what he's able to get done.
Yeah, nice run, trying to make his way down into this this very difficult sweeper, trying to come back up the hill, getting up to the very top of the racetrack. This is the highest point of this racetrack that then throws you out that last downhill to the start-finish straight. This is kind of like a roller coaster. You know, you get up to the top and you're ready to throw your hands up. Don't do that. Hold on to the race cars, the racing wheel. You got to hold on to that as we watch him dash over to the right side. And then we got teammates. Ritter's trying to make a move here on his teammate.
Ritter's indeed making a move on his teammate. I think Ridgway said it is time to get gone. Put the pedal down, and there is about 2.2 seconds now between himself and Andrew Hardman. Let's go back and check out this replay. This was from miles back, Michael.
This is from way back, but this is where that draft really makes a difference as we're coming in down into turn 1 into Elf. It's hard to call it Elf because I know that is 11 in German, so it's still turn 1. It's double 1, but watch these guys go around here trying to make through. Not too much of a defense. This is a team play. They know they have got to catch Hardman, so Ridgway and Ritter's working together to close up that 2-second gap to Hardman.
Indeed, not able to close it down here through the opening stages, though, unfortunately, as it's actually grown by about a 10th of a second. But as for right now, it is Ridgway in the catbird seat trying to chase him down to the best of his abilities. He is pulling away a little bit from his teammate of Steven Ritter's, that gap expanding to about 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, kicking up a little bit of dirt back there as he went through Lekaiser. I'm sure the groundskeepers are really thrilled with that one. Watching as he uses every last millimeter of track coming out onto our front straight. Are they closing up? Nope, still about 2.4 seconds. These guys have got to start working together, figure out something. Hardman is absolutely schooling them right now.
Yeah, he is absolutely checked out at the front of this field. Gap coming down a little bit on the straight and through the corner here. But as we've seen through that second sector, it looks like it does indeed expand out for him. Looking at the sector times, yeah, he is able to get about a 10th of a second faster through Sector 2 and about a half a tenth through Sector 3. That's where he's gaining his time.
And this really is the biggest thing happening on track. Not only is it the lead of the race, but this is the biggest fight we've got on track right now. Ritters and Ridgway, teammates trying to work together as we... Oh, what's happening with Scarali back here? Scarali maybe going a little wide? Yeah, I think he had an off or something trying to come around there.
I just watched it. He ran a little bit wide coming through Renault, got those right side tires a little bit too far onto the AstroTurf, and the car just spun around on him. Here it is. It's that normal racing line. You let the car run wide. He let it run a little too wide.
Ooh, that's heartbreaking. Oh, as the car behind him has to take evasive action coming around that corner. Yeah, let's take a look from the perspective of that chasing car. This is Joey Haynes, who's made up a lot of positions. He's up 11 positions. He was 10 up to about right. Oh, wait, we're not quite there. We got to come around to the next corner. So he was 10 positions up as we come around this corner as he was looking ahead, hoping to get a little bit of a draft, and then going, oh, hey, this is one of those easy paths that Michael was talking about.
Yeah, but still a little bit hairy there as Tyler Scarali now, as a result of that, locked into a battle. You can see it behind, trying to get by Fernando Rodriguez. That gap about 0.5 of a second. Scarali tucked up behind in the draft.
Yeah, Scarali has closed this up nicely up to Rodriguez. Like you said, half a second. We're sitting there at half a second. That's probably the tightest thing we've got on course right now. And these guys are not giving up a millimeter as they run absolutely hammer and tongs around this track. Oh, trying to go for a little bit of wide run. We just saw that not go so well.
Indeed, we didn't know, as we've got a pass going on for 13th right now. Rob Campbell trying to make a move on Matthew Gunderson. Tried to have a look going down into Elf. Not able to make it happen, but he is going to tuck right up behind. Coming up through Renault, he may have a look into Repsol.
Ooh, having a look here. This is tight. Oh, as he pokes his nose out, is he going to make it around? Nope, doesn't look like. Trying to back out a little bit. See if he can get the run as we come down the hill, back over to the right side of the track, getting his nose in, letting him know he's there, filling up those mirrors, saying, hey, I got a chance here. This is my turn to play. Get out of my way. I want to go and play with my teammate. Rob trying to get past Gunderson so he can get up to Richard Swindell's, who's 2 cars ahead of him.
He is indeed, but yeah, he's got to be careful here in this battle, does Campbell, because that's Nick Horvath right behind. We've seen some good speed out of Nick, but not really able to put it all together. And so they've got to be careful with this fight, or Nick Horvath is going to just be able to pick his way through him right and on by.
I'm watching, like sitting here with this on board, watching the way he's going through here. Very calm, very calculating. He's waiting for these guys to get themselves into trouble and make an easy pass as he slots right into this nice hole in the air. Nice run through the final corner. He's got some speed. Is he going to be able to make this pass down into one? He's got 2 cars to get around. Trying to get around one is going to be difficult as they make the juke over to the right side. They're about to come back to the left into the braking zone for Elf. And is he going to make it? Nope. Doesn't look like he's going to have to hold back as we got Rob Campbell making his presence known once again.
That puts him a little bit offline again, and let's see what Horvath can make of this. That's a wider line all the way through the corner there for David Cristelli. Richard Swindell is trying to follow behind, pick up a little bit of the air as he can just poke his nose to the inside of Repsol again. A little bit, once again, way off the apex there is David Cristelli, but he's just able to carry more momentum around that high line as these cars just continue to bunch together with this battle. It's really starting to look a little bit like Gunderson is the fly in the ointment here on Rob Campbell.
Yeah, he's kind of the mouse, and we've got 2 cats behind him trying to decide who's going to pick up the pieces of this pass. And it looks like Swindell's just went around Cristelli. Did we miss a pass? Did Cristelli go off?
Yes, he did. That's Cristelli they're going by right now, so clearly an off for David Cristelli, and that'll put him down to 14th. Nick Horvath trying to get by him right now, poking his nose to the inside as they work their way up through Bank de Sabadell. He's going to have to give up the ghost for the moment.
Oh, this is an interesting grouping. We've got teammates splitting each other. So we've got 2, 3, 4 guys, 2 different teams in alternating positions as we make our way down the front straight here. Little juke again, back right side, back to the left. I don't ever do that. I personally don't find it to be helpful. If somebody's going to pass me, we're going to work together to get our way up. Maybe if I'm in P1, if I'm sitting in Hardman's position, sure, I might do it then. But otherwise, I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't think it's very helpful, honestly, to your position. You're just making the track longer.
That's always been my mentality about it as well, as Cristelli gets very close up behind the backside of Rob Campbell. Rob Campbell around! Cristelli into him! Horvath off into the kitty litter!
Oh, that's tough. And he noses it into the wall, and I think we have one of those Morgan things again. Only 3 wheels left on that car.
Oh, so that breaks up our closest battle. Let's go back to the GSRC replay to check this out. This is riding on board from Nick Horvath. Michael, talk us through this incident from the driver's perspective.
So Horvath sitting here looking at what's going on. He's already seen a lot of aggression from this little group. He's going to try to just think about who's doing what. He watches as we get a little bit of extra rotation on the outside. Oh, contact, and then dumps it off into the kitty litter to get away from the flying bits of carbon fiber, brings it beautifully back onto track, and now it's time to get back up to the race that he was in before.
Indeed, he was. So that's going to deposit him back in 13th as of right now. Just a quick note, by the way, we are nearing close to 3 minutes to go in this race. So we're going to keep an eye on that clock. We're going to keep an eye on Barney the Flagman and let you know when that white flag comes out for your leader, Andrew Hardman. Now, Robert Ridgway has been putting down some good times. He's been able to get that gap down under 2 seconds, currently holding at 1.8, but that may be a little bit too little too late.
Yeah, Hardman and Ridgway running nearly identical laps, 0.021 separating them on that last lap. It's going to be a tight race. You got Ritter's right behind him, his teammate, Ritter's teammate, trying to make up ground too. But that's kind of fallen apart. He's now sitting back 2 seconds behind him, 2.5 seconds back. This is going to be a two-man race. Let's see what Ridgway can do. Ridgway's got the right mindset. He's got the skill to do this. It's now time to make it happen with only 2 minutes left in this race. Ridgway putting down a 32.533. Let's see. I think he might be listening in. He's like, oh, Michael says it's hammer time. I guess it's hammer time.
He's got to get a move on. By my calculations, that will only leave 2 laps to go. We will be 1 lap short. This race will end on lap 26. Watching here as they work their way across that first sector, I can report that that was 0.2 of a second faster for Ridgway coming through the first sector. So he is really trying to put the screws down here.
Yeah, he may have been saving his tires for a little bit. He and Ritters were trying to work together. That's what's nice when you have your teammate with you. You can trade off who's leading. Coming up into this top corner, around through here. I think they can probably make that without a lift, even depending on your setup. He's not so close behind Hardman that he's getting too much wing wash. Now, Hardman's got a back marker in front of them. How's this going to affect him? Is it going to slow him down at all as he works his way around the Kaija? Oh, this is a gap. This is a tough gap, but it's down to 1.6 seconds right now.
It is indeed. Hardman able to claw back a little bit, put him down a personal best in Sector 2 there with a 36.26. That is 100th of a second faster than his rival, Robert Ridgway. So the time's starting to shrink here a little bit between the two. They cross over the line. Another 0.2 of a second faster for Robert Ridgway.
And we got a back marker getting out of the way, letting these 1 and 2 work their way around, trying to get through this corner. Oh, this is going to be a nice finish. Let's take a look at the replay. There was
this was Nicholas Cariandis and I believe Max Chablis who got into the side of him. This is what it is. So the driver who was running 5th this entire race now taken out. Cariandis there off to the side. Chablis going to come around right about now. Oh, unsafe rejoin for Cariandis there, I've got to say.
Oh, God, you hate to see that. That's the time you've got to be watching your relative. There's a relative position screen that these guys should be using. He should have known that Max was coming up behind him like that. Now, in real racing, you've got a spotter who's telling you this. So here in iRacing, you've got to take a look at that screen so you know what's going on.
Yeah, you really, really do, as we are on the final lap here, and Andrew Hardman is able to hold that gap out to about 1.6 seconds, 1.7, as they work their way around Bank Sabadell for the last time. Down through Europe car and into the short chute now before New Holland. It is going to be a flag-to-flag victory here at Barcelona for Andrew Hardman, who takes victory. Robert Ridgway trying to close it down behind him, but not able to get the job done.
Wow, great job by these two. Hardman led every lap except for the ones in the pit rotation. He took off from the beginning of the race and never looked back. Well, I'm sure he looked back a little bit into the mirrors for a couple of times as Ritters and Ridgway were closing in, but that was a really good textbook race for him.
Really and truly was. We focus back in on the field here. This is a nice little battle shaping up. Nick Horvath trying to gain in a little bit more. Gunderson right ahead of him. This is a race of what could have been for Nick Horvath as they work their way around New Holland there for the last time. And it is going to finish out with Swindell's coming across to take that final P10 position with Gunderson and Horvath behind him. And that will take us to the results for today's race. As you heard us say, Andrew Hardman was able to take victory from Robert Ridgway and Stephen Ritters, rounding out your podium spots. Michael Broomhead came home in P4, followed by Jonathan Almanar, with Joey Haynes and Tyler Scarali in 7th. Colin Heffernan putting in a good drive to come home in P8, followed by Fernando Rodriguez and Richard Swindell rounds out your top 10.
Richard doing a great job, coming up 10 positions there. So we look at Matthew Gunderson in 11th, Nick Horvath right behind him in 12th, followed by James Doherty, Calvin Lee, Donald Olson, Rob Campbell works it out to 16th in the end there. James Carter in 17th, Greg Doucette 18th, 19th position, Devin Lamke, and P20, Nicholas Collender.
In P21, it was Brian Hoskins, followed by Max Chablis, who finished a lap down after that incident we saw him have. Sean Duhamel was 23rd, followed by Brad Miller, with Adam McDonald and Nicholas Carriendis 3 laps down. David Cristelli was 4 laps down, and then the rest of the drivers here were non-finishers. Tyler Gore, Christopher Richards, Dave Peterson, Johnny Luna, Takeshi Keita, and Ozzy Milwane. And that is going to bring us to an interview here with our victor today, Andrew Hardman. Andrew, flag to flag victory. That has got to feel good. It looked like you were in control of that race the entire time.
Absolutely, it feels great. I certainly, it was intense. It was hard to keep the gap to both Ritters and Ridgway there. They were blindingly fast. So just about controlling that and not letting them get too close and get my draft. But yeah, happy to get the win.
Oh, it looked like in those closing stages that Ridgway was starting to catch in on you a little bit. Were you feeling that pressure, or did you have it all under control?
You know, you get to a point sometimes when driving when you know you won't make a mistake, and that's what I was sort of in that zone. I knew he was coming, but I knew that I wouldn't make a mistake, so it was just about keeping the gap sort of over a second or so at that point.
Well, I'd say you did a pretty good job with it, my friend. Anybody you would like to thank for this victory out here at Barcelona?
Yeah, obviously, Britannia iSports, they've put together a great team this year. We're working well together. You guys, of course, for putting on a great show. And then also I'd like to say I had to put my cat down this week, and she was a big fan of sitting on my lap in my simulator. So this one's for you, Lily. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend, and best wishes to you. But that was your winner here today, Andrew Hardman. And that is going to take us to a quick break, but do not go anywhere because we have got more PRL action coming up. That's right. It's the Porsche Cup Series as they're going to take on Bathurst. So don't go anywhere.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back, and welcome to Australia's famous Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. This is a track that is known worldwide, but for anyone who is unfamiliar, let's head over to the GSRC track guide to fill you in.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest's Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
Well, Michael, you and I were talking about this track off air, and I think you referred to it as a love it and hate it kind of track. What's it going to be like in these Porsche Cup cars?
Well, especially in the Porsche Cup, because you have no ABS, it's going to be a love it and hate it all on the same lap. Hell Corner, aptly named. It is really tough. It looks simple. It's an easy 90-degree left to head down Mountain Straight, but some of the worst incidents I've seen in racing have happened right there. It's 23 turns. It feels like, I don't know, 12 times that. It is such a huge strain on the brain to run this lap. You've got mountain section with the walls right there on you the whole way around, and then you finally get to go down Conrad Straight, where you've got a little bit of breathing room, but you remember why it's called Conrad Straight. Then you go through the chase, head back down Murray's Corner, come back across start finish. It is right at 4 miles, a little over 6 kilometers, and every lap is completely draining.
Well, let's hope these drivers are going to be able to stay alive for 40 minutes or 19 laps. But before we get to that, let's run you through the championship here. We've only had one race, so things are pretty close there up the top with Rodrigo Mies able to hold a 5-point advantage over Felipe Cabrera Loyola. Ignacio Fredes there, a point back of Loyola with Michael Diaz. 2 points back of Fredes and Horacio Calquin rounding out your top 10. But we also have a teams championship. And how's that shaping up, Michael?
Well, 69 points. We've got the Punto CL Racing Black, 22 points back, NinjaTrader Esports, and then Precision Racing Esports Blue, 29 points back from the leaders. Punto CL Racing Red, and then Precision Racing Esports Black, just 2 points behind the red team at 40 points off the leaders.
And we'll run you through the race details for today. As I said, this is the second of 9 rounds, and it will be 19 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first, although we anticipate us getting on that distance. Open setups here, which are going to be very, very crucial to get these cars to turn well, going up and down this fearsome Mount Panorama. Drive-through penalty at 13 incidents and disqualification at 17. Also, bonus points available for pole, fastest lap in 3 incidents or less. And, well, if you look at the top of our qualifying standings, it's just like it was last time out. Rodrigo Mies currently holding the top spot to the tune of about 0.175 seconds.
That's pretty tight here. You're going to see, like when we were watching the last race, we were seeing these absolutely minuscule gaps. This track, even 2 seconds back, because the draft is so powerful here. 2 seconds back is not that far. So if we take a look back how far of a gap we have, it's really not that much. You're looking at 2 seconds. Let's see, Ignacio Fredes just came across 2.1 seconds back. That does not put him out as we watch Rodrigo Mies go right through the dipper there. That's a crazy corner. I love it.
Yeah, this section of track, very, very difficult. And as you said, no ABS in these cars. So particularly that section of track diving down the hill a little bit, that's going to be very, very tricky. The weight of the car is not really able to not able to help you slowing down as much. It's going to be a very easy section, I think, particularly down into Forest Elbow, where we may see some lockups.
Yeah, especially going down into Forest Elbow. Again, I know I've talked about Morgan's in the earlier part of the broadcast. You're kind of on 3 wheels as you come down into Forest Elbow, even through the dipper. You've got that big transition of weight. Let's take a look at Diego Morelos here, though. He's trying to make his way down through Murray's, get on the throttle using every last bit of track that he can. Ooh, nice lap, 2:04.727.
And that's going to improve for him, but it's not going to move him anywhere. He's going to stay in 4th. Rodrigo Mies will stay in that top spot as of right now. Here comes Christian Raditz. He's currently down in 7th position for that Punto CL Racing Blue team, bringing it down into the chase. And Michael, this is such a tricky corner, mainly because you're just coming in at such high speeds.
Yeah, everything on this track happens so fast. Even the slow sections, even going through, let's say, the dipper, you feel like you're doing 3,000 miles an hour because those walls are so close. Now, this part of the track, of course, coming down here at the start-finish, you've got a good car width from the edge of the track to the wall, so it's not too much to worry about. But then you get up on the mountain, everything feels so tight, everything feels so fast. So it's a crazy track. It is a crazy track. Oh, as we watch him come around, oh, a little bit too much weight on the rear end of that Porsche. Porsche's worked hard to try to make that car more controllable, but a lot of times we do our setups, we want that rear end to come around because you want that old Porsche feel with that big swing and weight around the rear end, but that's how it can bite you.
Rear engine, rear wheel drive, definitely coming back to bite you. But Enzo Montesinos here, currently in P2. Whoo, looking a little bit squirrely there, coming down through the dipper, but gets it woed up underneath him through Forest Elbow. Looking at his times, he was purple in Sector 3 and set a personal best in Sector 1, so he's definitely got some time to do. He will cross over that Sector 4 mark right before he gets to the chase. I'm looking to see what that time is going to be on my boards here. It looks like it is dead even with what he has done in the past, so this could be a little close. Montesinos really hustling that car around here as much as he can, as Loyola is able to bump his way up into P3. Cal Quinn in P4 right now. Montesinos, one more corner to go. Does he have enough to unseat your pole sitter? Comes to the line, able to improve by a couple of hundredths of a second, but it's not enough.
Ooh, just a tiny little bit over that 204 mark. Still trying to catch up. It was 0.175 before. Now it's 0.145. So yeah, shaved off a tiny little bit, just not enough to get there. But don't count him out in the race. This race is really going to be a off the hook.
Indeed, he has, as here comes Felipe Loyola now through the chase. Loyola set a personal best in Sector 3, not looking particularly fast here, though, through the final sectors, but let's see if the number 07 has anything. Nice, clean exit there off of the corner. He is able to go significantly faster, and that's enough to take P2 away.
Ooh, and of the tightest of margins, that might have been, well, I think that was about 1,000th of a second there. That, like, every little bit counts. Every millimeter counts on this track. You can't be afraid of those walls.
You cannot, but it is time to go through our starting grid here, as it is Rodrigo Mies in pole position, followed by Felipe Loyola with Enzo Montesinos and Horacio Calquin behind them. Diego Morales will start in P5, followed by Christian Raditz with Byron Daly and Ignacio Fredes in P8. Israel Barbosa will line up in P9, and Felipe Riquelme rounds out your top 10.
Looking on the 6th row of the grid, we've got Sean Romick, followed by Trent Dinkel. Raymond Dove with Dean Zayats in P14. P15 brings Nicholas Schwartz. 16th is Peter Newhook. Hunter, Morales, Jeunesse, and Holly filling out the top 20.
And in 21st, it is going to be Jeff Evans. We do have a couple of driver cams to show you through. First off here is Peter Newhook. There is the Canadian getting ready to get going in his number 87 Porsche. The other of which is a driver we're used to seeing a little bit more on the oval side of things. We'd like to welcome Trent Dinkel over to the Porsche Cup Series. So good to see Trent out and turning right every once in a while for him. Just waiting for a couple of more drivers to form up on the grid here. It looks like we're waiting on Diego Morales. I think Vincente Morales as well. Potentially Arnaud Genet as we get ready to get going here. Hopefully we can avoid some of those early incidents that you talked about going through Hell Corner, Michael.
Yeah, Hell Corner, again, aptly named. It's going to be tough on the opening, and let's watch as the green flag comes.
And there go the lights, and here comes the thunder. We're racing in Bathurst. It's not the best of starts here for Rodrigo Mies, as that's going to be Felipe Loyola really starting to threaten on the outside, but he's going to fall back into line. Morales, however, is going to be side by side with Horacio Calquin as they get out. A couple of cars off in the back. I think that is Dinkel and Fredes. I saw big arounds. That is Dinkel definitely around. He's tipped another driver. Fredes Zayats there in trouble as well.
Oh, really tough. Like I said, Hell Corner, aptly named corner, especially on lap 1. It is one of the toughest corners. It always brings pain. Every single time you go through there, it's you're just on bated breath to see what's going to happen.
And we're hearing news there that Peter Newhook had a little chortle to himself as he saw what was going on behind him. Hell Corner proving out to be the aptly named, as you said earlier, Michael. But now as they work their way up and around Solomon Park and over McPhillamy Park, these drivers in single file order, you really can't get a pass done up here up on the hill.
Yeah, it is so tough, but not impossible. There are two schools of thought on your setup for this track. You can go for that medium setup that gives you a lot of time in that midsection, which is great when you're trying to catch someone. But there's that downhill section and those long straightaways like Mountain Straight. You need to really trim that car out so you get the speed. So which one do you go for? It's hard to say. But right now, we're looking at Loyola, who has taken the lead from Mises.
He has indeed. I'm not sure where that pass was made, but Loyola really making a move, and Mies about to lose another position there, potentially to Montesinos, who took a look out to the inside, thinks better of it, going down into the chase. That's going to be Mies, Montesinos, and Morales. 1, 2, or 2, 3, 4 rather.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to tell these cars apart. They've got very similar paint jobs. So we've got to watch for that little flash of color in there as we watch them come back around Murray's corner, trying to make their way to finish out their first lap.
1 down and 18 to go around here. Still very, very close here up at the front. Working their way through Hell Corner now as it's going to be a little bit easier there. Looking like Morales is going to be a little bit faster here on Montesinos, I believe. That car is definitely tucked up behind. That 22 could have a little bit of a move. We've seen moves get done into Griffin's Bend.
Griffin's is a good place to make a pass because it's a very short run after that before you go. Oh, and we've got a roller. We've got Trent Dinkle. Oh, so finding out what it's like to turn right may have been a little surprising for him in this case.
May have indeed, as that is Dinkle up and over in his race done, unfortunately. So we'll have to see a little bit later what happened to him potentially as we continue to watch Felipe Loyola really gapping the rest of this field to the tune of about 1 second. That paddle in the back means Montesinos and Morales still staying relatively tight, only about a second separating the three of them.
I think Loyola and I might share the same spirit animal because the same thing happens to me. I race better than I qualify. He qualified in P2, which is not a bad quali, but look at this race. He has opened up. He's a second, well, 0.8 of a second out in front of Mises. This is crazy. He was in P2 by the slimmest of margins. Oh, Montesinos is having a little bit of trouble back here. Look, he's 2 seconds off the leader, and he's got Morales breathing down his neck as they come down towards the chase.
He does indeed. That car is absolutely everywhere for Enzo Montesinos here, as that is going to be Morales poking way off into the inside, down into the chase. He's going to try to do it. They're going to bang doors going through the right-hander, but it's going to favor back to Montesinos here. He looks like that car's a little bit better under braking in the low-speed corners, but under high speed, that thing looked almost dangerous.
I'm wondering if he's got maybe too much downforce and he's getting a lot of whipping wind off the car in front of him. It could be that the wind off of the air off of Mises' car is just kind of messing him up. I haven't driven these 992s that much, although I was doing a one-on-one session today as Loyola turns a 105.0. He's trying to check out here, man. He is trying to check out. He's got over a second, 1.1 seconds out in front of Mises at this point.
Does indeed, as we ride on board now with Diego Morales. That's a little bit of a defensive move up ahead of him from Enzo Montesinos, just trying to cover off anything there going into Griffin's Bend. Oh, man, that rear end on that Porsche, doing a Porsche slide there coming up through the corner.
You know, in real life, it's a lot of fun. I love taking Porsches around the various Porsche tracks around the world. But man, when it comes to iRacing, it is tough. You just don't have the butt feel. You know, you don't have that butt dyno to tell you where the car is going, unless you have one of those beautiful systems that's those 6 DOF kind of things. But man, it is tough to try to wheel these cars around a track like this when you can't feel what the car's doing.
Yeah, that is one of the things. I have a good friend of mine who is a land speed racer, and she noted the same thing. She could never drive the sim because she couldn't feel it. As we continue to watch drivers working their way around right now, a little bit of a lock up there, but we're going to go back to that replay at the start through Hell Corner and the big kerfluffle that was. Michael, walk us through that.
So as we're watching everybody coming off the line, we've got a few slow launchers coming back in here to the corner. Let's look back. We got the Napa car just trying to make it not 3 wide, hoping he doesn't get it, pitching off, trying to make it through, and we get a little bit of contact, and that is a classic police pit maneuver right there. And you're not supposed to do that in racing. We teach that to the cops, but we don't teach it to the racers. You don't want to do that. Oh, and we get a subsequent contact as they're trying to slow the cars down.
So everything going wrong. We bring you back to the action live. Enzo Montesinos able to get by Diego Morales, or that order staying in line rather, but Diego falling back a little bit. Enzo starting to look like he may be under attack again from Morales here. Morales in that 22 machine, just absolutely aggressive here. And there he's going to go to the outside, trying to get it done through Griffin's Bend. Nothing doing.
Nothing doing indeed. A little bit of a late defensive move coming through there, but hey, it paid off, and he's able to get around him very nicely as we watch him come up into the tightest part, the scariest part of this whole uphill section. This is where you kind of want to have that downforce. You really want the downforce to be working for you, at least until you get to Conrad Straight, where you just hope you're able to gap them enough coming through this section.
Well, I wonder if that's a little bit of what we're seeing here from Enzo Montesinos. I know you were maybe speculating before as we ride on board with Ratio Calquin in that popcorn position to this battle, that he may be running a little bit higher downforce, but it just doesn't look like Diego Morales is really able to close up on those straightaways. So I wonder if Diego is maybe running a little bit more downforce, maybe Enzo's a little bit more trimmed out, or maybe a combination of the two.
One of them got the magic beans, just figured out the formula to do this. And this is something that I struggle with on this track. And I have to, anytime I'm in one of the leagues, one of the series that's here, and you have the ability to change, I'm always playing with how much mechanical grip am I working with, how much aero grip, how fast do I want to go through, where am I going to make up time, depending on who I'm racing with. As we watch him come down to the chase here, heavy under braking, trying to close up that gap. It could be a braking game here as we watch Montesinos trying to do anything he can at this point coming down into Murray's.
Well, looking at their comparative sector times, and I know this is going to be a little bit because of the draft, but it looks like Enzo is fastest through sectors 1 and that final sector. That's where he's able to get a little bit of time going down into sector 5. So I'm thinking a little bit of that. That's what it is, that Enzo Montesinos, that is where he is super quick.
Yeah, being able to have that car trimmed out and make these long straightaways like Mountain Straight we're looking at right here, this is a good place to have your car really trimmed out. But now, coming into the mountain, this is where it starts to get scary. That car becomes incredibly unstable, trying to run as fast as you can up through this super tight section. Those walls are insanely close, and we may see some sparks flying as people try to get a little bit too close to those walls. As we watch right there, our chase cam, oh man, he is so close to that wall, just trying to hold on, getting a little bit of wing wash as he comes through these faster sections of the uphill, trying to come over into Skyline, into the Dipper, right into here. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Watching how if he can close it up through here, as he does, it looks like he's getting a lot closer. It's the downforce game. Absolutely the downforce game right here. Oh, as he goes sideways.
And that is Diego Morales losing the car coming down through the Dipper. He is going to lose 2-3 positions as that's Byron Daly that's able to slip on by him.
I got to give a shout out to Travis Brown. The wing wash is real, buddy. The wing wash is real. Trying to get through Skyline here, putting his nose just in the right position, getting on the brakes, trying to manage the bump as he comes around the corner, getting into the Dipper, and a little bit of that rear end coming around, just barely touching the wall. And now it's pucker factor as you're watching that all those cars come zooming up behind you.
Yeah, indeed, the pucker factor is very, very real on that, as now we're going to watch Diego Morales, who's unable to get by Enzo Montesinos. We're going to jump back. This is a good battle for P12. Bradley Holly and Christian Raditz, and Bradley Holly. Holly there holding off to the inside. This is another one of the drivers we're used to seeing in the Circle Series coming over to drive, although Bradley Holly has been electric in the MX-5 Series on Monday nights. Raditz, though, looking to put the driver of the 184 through his paces.
Sitting there trying to fill up that left side mirror, kind of throw him off his game just a little bit to set up for this run down. Oh, set it up beautifully. Get in the mirror, get in the head. That's exactly what he did right there. That's the way to do that.
It is indeed. We're also going to give a little bit of love here to Peter Newhook, one of our onboard drivers. He currently runs in the 11th place position. There you can see him sighting his way through Griffin's Bend, just taking that car around. Quick little check. I don't know if that was a yawn or...
I don't know. No, he's biting his cheek. I thought it was a yawn for a second, but I think he's biting his cheek, trying to hold on to the car getting up the hill.
No, that's what I do. If you ever see me racing, there's a reason why I never go on cams, and that's because my tongue is out half of the time and I'm gnawing on it while I'm in the sim. So, hey, I feel what Peter Newhook is doing on a deeply personal level here.
I only do that playing Call of Duty, and I look like a dork when I do it. So I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Call of Duty, tongue out, trying to play. Yeah, absolutely every time. As we watch him come down into Skyline, he's got some heat on his tail into the Dipper. Oh, this is a good one. Newhook and Raditz trying to go hammer and tongs here. Newhook just holding out the lead in the esports, Precision Racing Esports blue car, with Punto Racing Blue right behind him as we go a little wide into Charlotte's elbow. No, it's Forrest's elbow coming down the Conrad Straight.
We're not at Barber. Oh, I love that. You can see him glancing out of his side mirrors, able to get in line there. And Raditz, remember, is down 5 positions. He was involved in that early contact, so that explains why there is the outright speed there that we are seeing from that 33 and able to move his way by. Is Enzo Montesinos putting in the fastest lap of the race?
And by a good margin, too. A little over a little over a tenth of a second, or a little under a tenth of a second, I should say. It's a good run. He's trying to get into the head of Loyola, who's kind of checked out. He's got a 2.5 second lead out front there, doing everything he can to get out. But Montesinos, it knows how to play this game from here. You've got to start making him look at that relative box. So he's got his F2 button hit. He's looking at relative, says, oh, he's closed up a tenth. He's closed up another tenth. As we got one car going wide back there. Who was that?
That's Bradley Holly again, making a mistake through Hell Corner. We saw him do the same thing last time when under pressure from Christian Raditz, and looks like he just outbraked himself going down into this corner. Right on board with the 184. A little scruffy there coming out of Murray's. He's now going to dive the car, try to down into the corner, and yep, just outbraked himself.
Yeah, came in a little bit hot. The front tires did not want to hold on. Now, with these cars, there's not a lot you can do. You do not have damper controls. You have ride height, you have toe, and that's about it. I think you can do the bars. So ride height, toe, and bars. That's really all you can do to these cars other than tire pressure. So if you're used to sitting there and messing with your dampers and getting just the right tuning in there, it's not going to happen with these cars. You have to drive what Porsche gives you.
All right, so there you see it. That setup problem's coming out, and Bradley Holly now all the way down in 15th. He's the last of your runners. But here is the driver who isn't having any problem with those dampers. That is Felipe Loyola, out to about a 2.5 second lead over Enzo Montesinos.
Yeah, Montesinos, you see him back there in the background having his own little worries, I guess, with Mises. That was our pole sitter. Remember, Mises was sitting on pole, and he's now breathing down the neck of Montesinos. Their gap is pretty small. It's under half a second. Well, right at half a second right now as they go through Hell Corner to try to make their way down the mountain straight and get this next lap going. These guys might want to consider working together, but hey, you know, a teammate, it's sort of teams here. I'm not sure how this is going to work out.
I'm not sure either, but Enzo Montesinos doing his best job to stay ahead. He was a little bit slower there to the tune of about 11 thousandths of a second. Runs wide, though, up through Griffin's Bend, so that may hurt him just a little bit as they dive their way through the corners now. This could be another little battle of seeing where the downforce lies for these drivers. Mies looking very, very quick all around on this track. He has been faster on this lap thus far.
Watching through the apexes, you notice that Montesinos is able to open it up just a little bit, but coming off the corners. Mises is coming off the corner better. To me, that says he might have the better setup here for downforce for this mountain section, so he can carry that little extra speed to come off the corner just a little bit faster, because he might not have it on the straightaway.
He might not, and we'll be able to find out if he's got it on the straightaway or where exactly he's got it as they power down the mountain straight right now, trying to see what they have going. Everybody bringing that car in nice and fast. Looks like there that Rodrigo Mies just a little bit slower on the top speed. He's Yeah, he's topping out there at about 169 miles an hour, and I saw about a 170 tickle there for Enzo Montesinos.
Maybe he's afraid that he's going to throw a virtual Conrad down the Conrad straight, because it could be tough if you're running at the top. I have not driven this car on this track. I drove the previous version, the 991, in iRacing, and you could run it pretty hard. As we got the 44, Nicholas Schwartz has turned the car around. Is that at Forest Elbow, or where is it? Yep, Forest Elbow looks like.
Yeah, we're going to go back and check out the replay here to see exactly what happened. Just brings it down through the dipper. 1, 2, and has to get that braking zone. Oh.
Looks like just a little bit late on the brakes trying to get in there. That is a tough section, because right off, you can see all those marbles there. Just a little bit off. Those marbles could end your day. It's not that fast of a corner. It's a first gear, second gear, depending on the car you're in. But right there, you've got to be absolutely online, because those marbles will do exactly that to you.
Just sent offline, and we've got one of our first drivers coming down pit lane. This is Peter Newhook, who is opting to come down into the pits. And he looks like he does have a little bit of damage there on the right and left front of that car.
Both sides, he's got damage. You see a little more tire than you're used to seeing out of there. And the ButtKicker looks to be a little bit off. There we go. Let's put his happy face right there as he's checking his phone. Hey, he's trying to record us. There we go. There's repair time here. Oh, that's gonna be rough for him. Falling back 14th now.
Yeah, that's got to be repairs. He doesn't look like he is moving anytime soon, unfortunately. So some big damage there. But we check back in on Felipe Loyola as he continues his way down the Conrad straight, growing that gap to about 5 seconds.
Yeah, coming down Conrad, trying to get into the chase. Nice under braking. Car's very much under control, making it back around the right-hander to come down to Murray's. Is he going to keep going? Yep, looks like he's going to try to make another lap, trying to do the best he can right there. Nice apex, uses every last millimeter and then some. Oh, we've got enough.
That's Montesinos. Montesinos a little bit too hot coming down into Murray's corner. He has spun the car off, and that is going to promote Rodrigo Mies up into second. Let's check out this replay.
So trying to come through the chase right now. He's got a nice run, a little bit of grass there, not too much. Gets it under control, coming down into his braking zone. Goes to mash on the pedal. Oh, he gets a little bit of grass. That grass on the right rear tire is what sent him around. It's not too bad, though. It looks like only time, no contact with the wall. I think really the only thing hurt here is a little bit of ego.
Indeed, and we're now looking for Peter Newhook's incident to find out exactly what happened to him. Now, this is the run up to Skyline, coming through McPhillamy Park. Did he just get a little bit cockeyed through there? No, it looks like he's got it down and okay.
Oh, a little bit of extra there. These come in threes. There we go. Right there. He hit a little bit of too much of that curbing in the middle. And then right on the right side as he tried to drop through the dipper, or dip through the dropper, however you want to say it, drops right through there, through the dipper, catches that right side wall. Oh, that's a tough one.
That is indeed. So that explains why the driver of the 87 was in the pits for so long. We haven't really seen a whole lot of other drivers fire off on the pit stop. Sean Romig down in 12th has. But this is currently your closest battle out on track. This is Israel Barbosa leading Raymond Day.
So Raymond doing the best he can right through this section. Again, this is not an area you want to pass. There are areas in the mountain section where you can get around another car. You have to be significantly faster. These guys are too close. If you look at their lap times, we're not seeing a huge difference between them. So it's going to be passing on these wider, open, long sections as long as you've got the time. Look at that. See, only less than 0.2 of a difference between them. And right now, 0.9 between them. Their lap times just incredibly tight.
Incredibly close. As I think some of this may come down a little bit to pit stops here. If you're able to get a good in-lap or out-lap, we do anticipate pit stops firing off here in a little bit of time. We are working lap 11 of 19, and we will make it on distance here today. So 11 of 19, that is the number that the drivers are aiming for. As we continue to watch here, Raymond Day trying to close in on the back of Israel Barbosa, as I believe Bradley Holly's had another little off there, and that's allowed Sean Romig to go on by him.
Oh, and we got pit lane, dropping into pit lane to get some fuel. Oh, nice bounce across there. Little interesting as we watch him here. Bradley Holly going through, looks like coming up to the chase, about to make the left-hander in. Oh, a little bit of a lockup into the dirt, across into the Getty litter. Oh, again, not a place you want to be on this track. You've got to keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, anywhere off, it is very slick, and heads up there to Holly to be able to keep that thing pointed the right way. Using this pit stop, I think, just as a little bit of a mental reset. That is Ignacio Fredes that we just saw pop out ahead of him. Fredes is 3 laps down, so he was getting repairs, I believe, from that opening lap incident.
Yep, certainly. As we watch right here, we've got Fredes working his way down. The car looks a little unbalanced here, kind of bobbing a little back and forth as he heads. Oh, yep, something's up with this car. Does he have damage? Was there an earlier incident with him that I didn't catch?
Yeah, it just came out from repairs, so I believe he may have been caught up a little bit in that first lap melee that we saw a couple of drivers get mixed up with. As we may want to go back to that battle for P8. Israel Barbosa getting closed down on by Raymond Day. He's got that gap under about 0.2 of a second here. Very close up through the chase.
Day was doing a great job as they were on the beginning part of this lap running down the mountain straight. He was able to close up about 2.5 tenths just down the mountain straight. He's really working that draft. Now, as we watch Barbosa take to the pits, now it's time for Day to really get out there and try to open up the gap and try to make that undercut happen.
Exactly. He's really going to have to push it. Israel Barbosa here going to have to just try to nail his marks. A nice wide pit lane here at Bathurst. Not like where we were last time out at Knockhill, where that is a big concern. Barbosa on his marks perfectly. He is one of the first of your leaders, one of the higher placed drivers to come down pit lane, Sean Romig, the other driver to have pitted. He's about 25 seconds behind Barbosa, so Barbosa should be able to come out in P10. Live. They're going to come out pretty close to one another.
They're pretty close. Looks like Romig is going to just get the best of him. Is he going to hold on to it? It's a pretty tight one. About 1.5 tenths as they work their way down the mountain straight. Also want to point out, take a look at the front of the pack here. Well, let's watch this go on while they're doing this. Loyola has really checked out. He is 4 tenths out. So we watch a really nice side-by-side as these guys enter the mountain, coming up into this tight left-hander to try to make the way. This is where the walls get really close.
They do indeed, and Barbosa going to have to hold up behind as Romig is able to hold on to that position for now. And it looks like that he is a little bit slow. I just saw Christian Raditz, I think. I'm not sure if that's a problem or if he opted to tow. We'll check on that in a minute.
I think he towed. He is in the pits. Raditz is in the pits. Going back, let's take a look at the replay. What happened here is he's coming around, looking through that last corner at McPhillamy Park, going into Skyline, drops the car down, getting hard on the binders. Oh, a little bit unsettled. Oh, catches the inside wall and the outside wall. Oh, yeah, that's time to tow because you got major suspension damage from that.
And our leaders are all hopping down pit lane here. Loyola, Means, Montesinos, and Morales opting for the pits. Looks like Calquin, Daly, and Raquelme are going to stay out and try to push this an extra lap longer here on lap 13. I'm also seeing Morales and Raymond Day. They're all hopping down as they get on out. To the surprise of nobody, Felipe Loyola able to get out ahead. Oh, who is that taking tires?
Ooh, taking tires. Mises is taking tires. That might be a good option here. he is fast. He was in P2 when this all started in this pit rotation. So maybe getting the tires at this point is a good idea. This track can start to eat away on the rubber on your tires, especially if you have a low downforce setting and you're having to slide that car a lot as you go through the mountain section, trying to keep up with somebody who may have a little better downforce setup, not trying to go quite as quick on the straightaways. It can also work the opposite way. If you have too much downforce, that's too much heat going into those tires, wears them out a little bit too quick, it might be a good idea to take those tires in either one of those extremes.
As the battle coming out of the pits rages on, Raymond Day just able to pip Israel Barbosa as they come out and work their way into Griffin's Bend. Remember, this was the battle that we were following earlier between the two of them, and Sean Romig able to do a good job. He pitted 3 laps earlier than these pair. He currently leads this little battle. This is for P8.
Yeah, Romig doing a nice job in P8 with Day behind him and Barbosa trying to close up this gap. Are they faster? Will they work together? Probably not. I think these guys are kind of in it for themselves at this point. We don't have much time left in this race. We're looking at about 13 minutes or so. Not that many laps, about 6 more laps. This is going to get crazy from this point all the way to the end. You're going to see everybody pushing with every last little bit they have.
Indeed you will, as our leader, Horatio Calquin, decides to come down pit lane right now. Looks like Byron Daly and Felipe Riquelme will both be coming down. Daly overcooked it.
Oh, locks it up trying to get it. This is a really tough pit entry to make. You've got to bring that car's speed down. They designed it that way because, as you've seen in a lot of the British tracks as well, they can make these really tight, twisty entrances to your pits. And, it catches people off guard when they're used to some of the normal European tracks and American tracks where you've got a pretty fast pit entry and you just have to get on the binders. As you watch him come in here, take a little bit too much as he comes in, tries to pinch it around, finds himself in the kitty litter and losing a position to boot.
Yeah, so not good there for Byron Daly at all. And there you can see he loses out to Felipe Riquelme, but he's going to come back pretty close behind. Now, that is a lapped car. That's the lapped car of Peter Newhook that is able to come in the middle of them. Newhook more than likely will get out of the way when time requires this. Oh, that is Horatio Calquin moving past Rodrigo Mies.
Oh, nice move there, trying to get his way up the hill, putting himself into P3. Mies still working on those new tires. Remember, he just got a brand new set of tires that previous lap. They don't come in that quickly, so he's waiting for those tires to get some heat in him so he can come back. He had to let him go by. There was no point in trying to hold him back because he just doesn't have the grip just yet.
No, not quite yet. So that decision biting a little bit here, but he is able to keep in close behind us. We're going to go back to check out a replay of this. Yeah, there you can see it just hanging it around the inside and a little bit wide there for Rodrigo Mies, not able to get it to work.
Yeah, it's a good, clean move. Both guys doing a great job staying out of each other's doors. Just nice door-to-door racing without taking any paint from your competitors.
Yeah, and it just, you always love to see that kind of good, respectful racing here, especially at a tricky track like Bathurst. I can report that we may have a little bit of a battle here as we continue to watch Calquin and Mies. I've got Riquelme and Daly out of the corner of my eye as well. You may be able to see them pop in on the back of this straight. This is going to be a battle of the braking, though, for Mies. If he's able to get down and get a good run through the chase, it doesn't look like he's going to be quite close enough, but maybe starting to threaten. Here's Byron Daly behind him. Now, Riquelme locked up coming through Forrest's elbow, and that allowed for Byron Daly to close down.
Yeah, looks like he's got a better run coming down into Murray. He's trying to go around the outside. Good defensive position. Can he hold on to it, or is it... Oh, both cars getting a little bit sideways as they try to make the drag race down to Hell Corner.
And ahead right now, it's going to be Byron Daly. Riquelme tries to poke his nose to the inside, but the 444 is denied. And so that is going to move Byron Daly up into 7th place. But something tells me this battle may not quite yet be over. Riquelme hungrily gobbling up every bit of draft that he can right now.
Yeah, 444, not half as good as the 888 that we know from this track, historically, because, man, that was a nice move. That was a really well done, well-planned move. You could see it working several corners back. He knew what he was doing. He had that set up, so nicely done. Nice move.
Indeed, and now it's going to be a question of if he's able to pull away a little bit here as they work their way up the mountain section of this circuit on lap 15 of 19. They continue to get their way going here. I've also been watching that battle between Calquin and Mies. They're about to work their way down the way, trying to get going here as they cross over Skyline.
Skyline dropping it, just you got to be careful on that inside curbing. We've seen a couple of guys make it through that curbing, and a couple of guys not quite make it through the curbing, trying to hold close to the wall as we come down around into Forest Elbow, making sure they don't get into the marbles. Just roll on that throttle to head down the Conrad Straight as we take a look at back to the P3, P4 battle right now. Rodrigo Mies is trying to make his move, coming down hard into the braking zone, into the chase. Is he going to be able to make a pass out of here? He's got the fresher tires. Remember, he's got an opportunity to make it, coming down into Murray's.
Indeed he does, but he's going to opt to stay in line here, maybe try to back up the corner a little bit, get a better of a run out of Murray's. Both cars a little bit squirrely coming onto the curbing there, and it looks like that Mies has dropped back a little bit of a position, just a couple of tenths there.
He wants the run. He wants the run here. Yeah. Look at that. Beautiful. Set up that exit. Backs off just a little bit so he can get his braking zone where he wants it. As we watch, just pushing over to the left side, tiny little bit. He's able to hold on to it. This is the downforce game, I think, that we were talking about before. Who's got more downforce? Who's got the straight line speed? Oh, man, it's really, really a tough decision to make when you're setting up for this race.
Yeah, it is. It just looks like Rodrigo quite doesn't have the speed on the straightaways to get this done. As there you can see them working their way over the hill right now. Horatio Calquin able to hold that advantage out. Up front, Loyola continues to lead from Montesinos. That gap about 4 seconds up the road from this battle you're watching right now.
Yeah, these guys absolutely hammer and tongs, but I think we're looking at Mies with a little better downforce setup. He's really all over the bumper. Look at this as they come through Skyline right into the dipper. He is absolutely on the bumper of him, trying to just pressure him into a mistake as we watch them fall down the hill into Forest Elbow. Gets a little bit open. Is he going to be able to use the draft to come down the hill? If he gets a better run out of Forest Elbow and just tags the wall. He tags the wall.
That was Calquin very hard into the wall, and that car did not like it, blunted the momentum big time. Rodrigo Mies able to move his way up into third place as of right now. Calquin, though, with that suspected top line speed, is going to try to fight back a little bit. He's now going to poke his nose back to the inside, able to regain the position on the Conrad Straight.
Wow, just listening to you, I'm out of breath. That was a great maneuver down into there. He's definitely got the top speed. Even hitting the wall, coming out of Forest Elbow, was able to regain speed, come back around Mises before they got to the turn right there as they come through Murray's back again, cross the start line, looking for the finish line to, nose out. He's trying to, is he going to pressure him? Get in that left side mirror, make him make a mistake. Can he come to it? Coming through Hell Corner, using every bit of the curbing there, trying to make it again as they come down the mountain straight.
And it looked like there that Horatio Calquin immune to any of that pressure from behind. That gap slowly coming down, but not fast enough for Rodrigo Mies as they go into the braking zone for Griffin's Elbow. It's going to be another trip up and down the hill.
This is every bit as exciting as the real GT3 races you see here. And these are the Cup cars. Remember, Cup cars, no ABS here. These guys are absolutely putting on an amazing show as we watch Mises and Calquin fighting back and forth as they go up the hill. Only 0.2 of a second, even less, separating these guys. I'm telling you, Mises has got right here under his wing, he's got a little bit more speed. He's using more downforce without a doubt. That's why he had to take those tires, I think. It might be a little too much. Maybe 1 degree less of wing, he'd be in a better position. But hey, it worked for him when he got the pole position. So who am I to say, right?
Exactly, as they plunge their way down through the S's and into the dipper here. Let's see if Calquin makes another mistake coming through Forest Elbow. A big lockup, a little bit of contact.
Contact on the 666. Mises does the right thing, though. Sits back, waits for him. Doesn't run into him as they get passed by, who was that?
That's Morales. That's Diego Morales.
Morales gets an easy pick of 2 positions.
Diego doing a heads-up job there to be able to say that, and there you see Rodrigo. Yeah, Calquin, very, very slow. That car is damaged, and I think that is going to be a tow and a DNF for Horatio. Is that side-by-side there in the back? That's Raymond Day and Sean Romig trying to get around me. Oh, man, trying to get around Calquin.
Oh, man, this is some tough positioning when you got a crabbing disabled car in front of you. They're just trying to get back to the pits to get their car fixed. Now you got to race around that. It is a terrifying position to be in, especially if you're in the crabbing car, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Indeed, you do not, as this is really starting to develop up a little battle here. This is for P7. Sean Romig leading from Raymond Day and Israel Barbosa right there behind as well. So a very, very tight battle here with 2 laps to go at Bathurst. It looks like Romig's able to get a better run off of the corner. Raymond Day trying to close in behind him. That gap at about 0.5 of a second. Barbosa holding back at about 7.5.
Am I mistaken in thinking Romig was behind this pair earlier, maybe right before the pit stop rotation? I think he was. I might have been confusing it with the previous PRL race where we had a similar paint design on Horvath, I think it was, sitting there in the catbird seat and trying to make the move. Now we've got another green and black paint job working his way through, and I think he kind of got around these guys while they were fighting.
I think he did indeed. Romig just being very, very heads up to be able to put that car where he needs to do it as they come around here through Solomon Park and into McPhillamy Park. That car looking very stable, it has to be said, even with that oversteer that we like to talk about with the rear-engine, rear-wheel drive Porsche. Romig looks like he's got that thing under control.
He does, looking very smooth, very clean, and one of the hardest places on any track anywhere to be smooth and clean. Dropping through the dipper is, one, terrifying. If you've ever watched that wall trip video, if you've never watched it, look for it. Go on YouTube. There are a bunch of them out there. Watch wall trip on a ride going in one of the V8 supercars through that, discovering what it's like to race in Australia. These guys are experiencing it virtually firsthand. This is a great race unfolding here. As we switch over to Felipe Loyola, he's completely checked out. I don't see, there we go. There's our P2 car. There's Montesinos in the background. He is absolutely checked out. Looking at almost 7 seconds here. This is not a race for him. He's now on a Sunday drive.
Well, he's only got one more circuit of that Sunday drive to be able to get everything done and dusted here. The white flag is in the air. Barney, the flagman, displaying it on the last time by for Felipe Loyola. Yeah, that's 7-second advantage here. He can pretty much just coast his way around at this point.
But you got to be careful with that. I have caught myself out. When I was earlier in my career, I was way out front and I thought, oh, no problem. I'm going to back way off. You lose your timing. Your timing is so important, especially in a track that's as tight as this one. You can mess up, and that 7 seconds suddenly becomes 7 in the other direction. So you can't really slow down too much. Maybe you can drive at 99% instead of 100, but you go back to 90, you're really going to be asking for pain.
Yeah, a little bit reminiscent of Senna in Monaco, the year that he bended backing off like that. Thank you to our director, Joe Peak, for the reminder on that one. But as for Felipe Loyola, he was able to navigate the tight street section of this circuit quite easily and get that car pointed the right way, coming down now into the chase for the final time. Felipe Loyola bringing it down heavy under braking into the left-hander and then swinging it around to the right-hand side. Here he goes. One more corner to go for the 07 machine to take victory here at Bathurst. Onto the binders, into the left-hander. There he goes around, and there is the checkered flag. It is victory for Felipe Loyola here at Bathurst. A commanding drive for the 07.
We got Raquelme in P6 trying to make a hard run on Daly as we watch Montesinos come across.
We do indeed. Raquelme trying to do everything that he can here. Byron Daly doing a good job to hold him off. Daly keeping on that high line, that outside line, diving it down into Murray's. Unless there's a mistake on the exit, this is going to go to Daly, and it doesn't look like there is. So that is P5 for Byron Daly. Felipe Raquelme able to maintain 6 behind them. Romig checking out a little bit from Israel Barbosa and Raymond Day. Barbosa able to get that move done in the final couple of corners to take 8th place around from Raymond Day.
Take a look at this replay as we watch them coming down into the chase on the inside. Oh, locks it up, tries to go and mow the grass a little bit, getting the John Deere Award. Looks like Raymond Day getting the John Deere Award for this race.
Indeed, as that is what allowed for Barbosa to catch up and get on by. And that's going to wrap up our finishers here. We're going to take a quick break on the Global Sim Racing channel, but when we come back, we will have the unofficial finishing order as well as podium interviews. Welcome back to Bathurst. You just saw the Precision Racing League's Porsche Cup Series take on this monster of a circuit, and it was Felipe Loyola taking victory here away from Enzo Montesinos and Diego Morales, who rounds out your podium positions. Rodrigo Mies was in 4th, followed by Byron Daly, with Felipe Raquelme 6th, and Sean Romig being able to hold off and attacking Raymond Day and Israel Barbosa. Barbosa finished 8th, and Day finished 9th, with Horatio Calquin rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, tough finish for Calquin there, but Nicholas Schwartz bringing it in 11th with Fred is 3 laps down, P12. New Hook bringing in 13th, followed by Raditz, Holly, Hunter, Evans 17 laps down, Dinkel 18 laps, and Zayats and Morales rounding out the top 20. With P21 was Arnaud Genet, who I'm not even sure took the green.
Yeah, that may have been a steward decision there, but we are ready to interview our winners here today. And first off, that is going to be Felipe Cabrera Loyola. Felipe, that looked like a pretty commanding drive once you got out into the lead, but how was it from behind the cockpit?
Hello, good night. Yeah, it was very nice. At the start, it was well, a little bit nervous because the first lap is very, very dangerous, the car. very oversteery the first lap, so very easy in the first. But then on the second and third lap, the car start to hit the tire, so you can push a little bit more. And then I noticed that I was leaving behind Enzo and Rodrigo, so I start to push a little bit more, start to concentrate, and well, it was a very relaxed race this time. But anyways, the track and Mount Panorama is very hard, so a lot of concentration too, and I'm very tired with that because trying to stay concentrating in all the whole race in this track is very difficult. So well, very happy with the results.
Well, I would be happy as well. And, you've got to stay concentrated. But was there a point during the race when you realized just how big of a gap that was and you maybe backed the car off a little bit, just kind of relaxed in the sim a little bit, or was it full push the entire way?
Full push the whole race, but in sometimes I got some freeze on my computer in the skyline, so it was very for me it was very scary because it freeze like 1 millisecond, but for me it was like a second, and then I was trying to be a little bit safer, and that also happened to me when I entered to the pits. My PC just freeze in the entry of the pits, and I hit the tires in the right. So I damaged the car, and well, the boxes, the crew in the box, it was like 30 minutes and 50 seconds of repair. So at the end of the race, or after the pits, the car was slower, it had less top speed, and it wasn't to turn in. So at the end, I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't back up a little. I was pushing, but the car just was a little bit damaged.
Well, that makes that win even more impressive if that's what you had going on. But looking ahead, we head to one of my personal favorite tracks, Mid-Ohio, next. Do you have a lot of experience there, and how do you think these Porsche Cup cars are going to handle it?
Well, Mid-Ohio for me, it's a new track. I have it, but maybe I have done 10 laps. So I didn't know. I will try. I will need to learn the track because I have done some laps, but I don't know the track. I don't know how to be fast in that track. So for me, it will be a new track and will be very fun because new tracks are always fun. So a new track, this car is very fun. So I will try to practice a little bit more for the next race.
Well, I'm looking forward to it for one, but anybody you'd like to thank for this victory here today?
Yeah, obviously to all of you because you do the transmission on all the stuff. So thanks you to the league. Also thanks to Punto CL, to the team, and all the people that are watching the transmission. So thanks to everyone.
Well, thank you, Felipe. That was your victor here, Felipe Cabrera Loyola. And now, Michael, I believe you've caught up with our second place finisher, Enzo Montesinos.
Enzo, welcome to the podium. Nice to see you here. Nice to watch that race. That was a really nice run through the field. I mean, you started in P3, you made your way up to P2, you had some nice battles the whole time. Did this race go the way you had it planned in your head, or were there some odd little tangents that happened through here for you?
Hi, I'm first time in the podium in the first race in the season. Yes, it's a very difficult race. The race is the flat car in the last turn. If it's out the race, but no, I'm sorry, it's very difficult speaking English.
No problem. Is there something you'd like to say, maybe in your native tongue, to some of the fans out there who speak your language, and just have a couple of nice words for them? Thanks for watching the race, and maybe highlight one of the more special points of the race for you.
Yeah, yes, very points for the champ. The next race is fun. Sorry.
So have you raced Mid-Ohio before? Have you driven the next track before?
The Mid-Ohio is never driving. It's the first time for the iRacing. And the fun, the new track, is the training for the weekend. If the start the race is very nice.
Good. So, un poquito en español?
Sí, poquito español. Sí, habla español.
So, I don't. I was hoping you might say something en español.
No entendí mucho. Pero
Okay. Well,
the next is si quedo en el podio y puedo traer a un amigo, his friend is speaking for help me the next race.
assuming you make it to the podium, which I have no doubt you will, that was a brilliant drive. I really enjoyed watching you through the whole race. Is there anyone you would like to thank?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the people that view the race.
Well, thank you, Enzo. It was a wonderful
Thank
race.
you.
Thank you for being here with us. And I believe DJ may have our third place finisher to talk to now.
I have indeed, Diego Morales. Diego, you had a pretty up and down race there, and you looked very, very aggressive at the beginning, trying to poke your nose this way and that. And after all of the craziness, third place has got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, totally. I was not expecting the podium at all. Yeah, and I was aggressive at the beginning, but I was trying to be safe at the same time. I knew that like this track is crazy easy for you to hit the wall and just die and kill other people. So I was trying to, trying to pass Enzo there, but was not like forcing too much. But then just made a small mistake in the mountain that cost me some positions. And yeah, I was okay with the P5 there, but like I'll take the podium.
For sure, for sure. I've got to ask you, we were kind of speculating over a couple of points during the broadcast on downforce levels and that kind of stuff. Were you running a little bit higher, a little bit lower downforce? What was your setup like here? I'm running the default VRS actually for this one. Didn't have time to play a lot with the setup. So yeah, I was trying. My goal at the beginning of the race was like to finish and just like not have any bigger issues for me and for the other drivers. So yeah, default VRS setup, nothing crazy there. Well, all right then, my friends. As we look ahead to the rest of the season, can we expect to keep seeing you on the podium here, or what are your kind of goals going forward? Yeah, I think that the goal is to be consistent. I think I made some mistakes on the first race that cost me a lot of positions. I finished P9 there. So this is the first season with this car. So I think that like consistency is the goal. I don't want to say that I will be on the podium, but if I'm top 5, I'll be really, really happy with that. Indeed. Well, we wish you the best of luck. And anybody you'd like to thank for the run here today? Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting us. All the drivers, they're really great and really fast. And also Simsa, my team, that's always supporting me. Yeah, hope to see you guys next week. We hope to see you as well, Diego. Thank you so much. That was Diego Morales, your third place finisher here tonight. And well, folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But before we go, we'd like to thank the sponsors for tonight's race, including ASR. They design and build the sturdiest, most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. Also, RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Michael, Joe, and Dougie. You can find out more about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media, which is listed on the bottom of your screen. Also, check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenv.com. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race on the channel is going to be the Grand Prix Legends, who take on Summit Point at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, January 15th. The next race for this series, well, the Formula 3 cars are headed off to Mosport, and you heard us say it, the Porsches, they're headed off to Mid-Ohio. That'll be next Thursday, January 20th at 8:25 Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendars. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.